UB.net presents Poker2Nite. Coming up, it's time to say goodbye to 2009, and that can only mean one thing: New Year's resolutions. We talked to Phil Hellmuth and other big-name pros to hear their poker goals for 2010. 2009 had its fair share of swings, and Poker2Nite counts them down as we recap this year's biggest poker stories. Justin Bonomo takes us in the tank on a bluff gone horribly wrong, and keeping in the generous holiday spirit, Poker2Nite charitied it up with Jennifer Tilly and Mekhi Phifer. We'll also be joined in studio by WPT champion and legendary prop bettor Gavin Smith. All that plus Dana Workman rings out the old year with the weekly misdeal on Poker2Nite. Hello and welcome to Poker2Nite. I'm Scott Huff, and alongside me, as always, is Joe Sebok. A very happy new year to everyone out there. And Joe, I got to say, it's been a great year for poker, and I'm a little sad to see 2009 go.
It's been an unbelievable year for poker. So many things to cover. Now that the holidays are over, I did get that pony, by the way.
Did you? Yeah. Congratulations. Well, we're just a few days away from the dawn of a new year, so we thought we'd take a look back, for better or worse, at what we thought were the biggest stories of 2009. And Sebok, since you're our resident pro, I will give you the honors.
All right, for me, the number 3 story has to be the World Series of Poker final table.
The main event final table is number 3. I can't wait to see what number 1 is.
It was a huge year in poker. I don't think you can argue with that. At that final table, though, Darvin Moon comes out of the woods. We got Joe Cata, Phil Ivey, more suckouts than a blow pop factory. I mean, what more do you want out of a World Series of Poker final table?
Sure. I mean, it was definitely huge. I mean, we had a chance, about 50%, I'd say, chance of getting an interesting story out of this final table and an interesting winner. I don't want to put anybody on the spot who wouldn't have been interesting. But all of that said, I mean, I think it finally proved that this November 9 format can work. It was an exciting build-up, and the suspension of disbelief that Phil Ivey could be our champion was huge for this main event.
All right, number 2 story of the year, Isildur 1 coming down from Sweden and raining on the high-stakes games online. Unbelievable stuff. You know, he had the money for a couple weeks. He didn't have it for that long, but just for somebody to come out of the mystery and take over is pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably the biggest story that we've had in high-stakes poker since Andy Beal versus the Corporation. This has really breathed some life back into the high-stakes cash games, and certainly it's exciting for the Railbirds as well, which is always good for poker.
All right, my number 1 story has to be Phil Ivey. 2 bracelets, final table at the World Series of Poker main event. He's on ESPN the magazine. He was everywhere all the time. I'm pretty sure I caught him baking brownies in my kitchen at one point. Phil Ivey, 2009.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Ivey was a big story this year. I mean, any time in a sport or a game where you can have the best in the world prove that they're the best, I mean, I think it really was a validation for a lot of poker players that this is a skill game, and the best in the world proved it.
That's why he's my number 1.
All right, well, my number 3, and I took a little bit more of a media guy's perspective on all of this. My number 3 is Lady Gaga's Poker Face hitting the top of the charts. I mean, if this isn't a measure of the success and how far poker has come, you have the biggest pop star in the world coming out and making a song about poker and her poker face, which my guess is fantastic.
Pop, 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 poker face. It was good. Obviously, there's no question. It's really interesting to see our game sort of percolate into the mainstream, and I kind of like Lady Gaga. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like the music.
All right, well, number 2 was the Day 1D lockout. I had to put it above Lady Gaga. Day 1D lockout, I've been obsessed with this since it happened. How do you shut people out of the main event of the World Series of Poker? It seems completely absurd. It's supposed to be an open event where anyone can play. And, you know, maybe it's questionable whether Joe Cata is really the best in the world since everyone didn't have a chance to play against him.
To me, it was sort of the one blemish on Jeffrey Pollack's tenure as the commissioner at the World Series of Poker. In my opinion, I wish they had found a way for, you know, all the players to be able to play. It's a tough spot. You got to follow the rules, but it really is just a sick feeling to have anyone turned away from the main event at the World Series. And my number 1 story of the year is the UIGEA banking enforcement delay. This was obviously big in a lot of ways for the poker world and certainly for the lobbyists who are lobbying on behalf of this legislation being overturned. I think just the delay of 6 months is giving some people hope out there who are lobbying on behalf of this that it will be overturned by 2010. Absolutely. I have to agree with that. It's such a big story. I mean, we don't know how it's going to all unfold, of course, but it's one of those situations where it could go any direction, and, you know, we'll see. It's sort of a first step in the process.
Obviously a huge year for poker, like we said. Well, last week, Poker2Nite's Lacey Jones was in Las Vegas for the final table of the WPT 5-Diamond Doyle Brunson Classic, and with the new year approaching, she asked several pros about their resolutions and their goals.
I don't really set very specific goals. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I'm just kind of always trying to improve, always trying to become as good as I can.
Try to win a bracelet, at least one at the World Series. I don't have one yet.
One of my goals is to live somewhere in Europe for the next 3 months, rent a house somewhere, not sure where yet. in terms of poker, I'd like to study more. I've kind of fallen off the bandwagon of, you know, like thinking about situations and like talking.
Just try to win some money and try to just give it my best every time I go out and play.
I just need to be a more organized human being and not be so lazy sitting in bed all day and rolling out of bed at noon to sit down and play some online poker.
But I'm not going to do things crazy. I'm a family man, baby.
Definitely would like to get, probably lose some weight.
I want to lose some weight.
I'd like to add on more muscle.
Gonna try to start playing more sports and getting back in shape.
Try to work out more, drink less beer, and the standard stuff.
I have no personal goals. I was just trying to throw something out there.
I don't like to make any specific New Year's resolutions just because I feel like I should be doing that all year long.
I think it's important to have goals in life, and as Ted Turner said in his autobiography, you can't shoot too low, because if you hit all your goals, then what do you do?
You know what? I don't make resolutions till like a minute before. Like I think and think and think, but I come up with it like 11:59. So if you catch me then, I'll be happy to answer them.
I'm pretty sure that Mueller was hitting on Lacey right there.
That's crack detective work, Sebok.
Creepy.
All right, well, now we might as well see what Dana's resolving to tell us in the weekly misdeal. Dana?
Hey guys, coming up tonight, we revisit some of my favorite headlines from 2009. And by the way, I found one of Phil Hellmuth's New Year's resolutions you missed. Here goes. In 2010, I resolved to take it easy on the name dropping. At least that's what Deepak Chopra and Dr. Phil told me to do.
Speaking of Hellmuth, something everyone else should resolve to do is check out UB.net's new Pro Challenge. 2 main event prize packages every week, and for more info on that, stay tuned.
All right, when we get back on Poker Tonight, we'll be joined in studio by former WPT Player of the Year, Gavin Smith, and we'll hang with Jennifer Tilley at the All In for CP charity tournament. Poker Tonight, back after this.